soccer. The European game basketball is heavily influenced by soccer and the concept of playing in space, playing without the ball, right? All these European teams, you see that ball just flow, right? And now like I said, it all, like the first inkling of that in the NBA was the San Antonio Spurs with Popovich, and then of course Golden State. That ball, nobody's out there just dribbling. That ball's just moving, and then just make that one extra pass, open three. And if you're like South Sudan's making those shots, so that, remember when you and I talked about this, the NBA has to adjust to the flow of an international game. International game is less about individual ability and more about that flow and creating easier shots. There is no one in the world that can do shot making like Kyrie Irving, shot making like Steph Curry, shot making like LeBron James. Or Kevin Durant. There is no one. But you don't have to have that shot making ability if that ball just flows. If every look you're getting is a clean, open look and the quality of shots are better, you can beat anybody. And I think that's what South Sudan, and by the way, like even with Canada, when we started, like I said, in the first half, we were up like 11-1, 18-4. We had a really wide gap where the USA was kind of like, holy crap, this is a real game. Now, here's the bad news for everybody else in the world. So they're realizing we got to really play, right? So they're going to bring it. And I don't think by any stretch of the imagination we've seen the best that Team USA can do yet, especially when Kevin Durant hasn't been in the lineup. But I will tell you that, I think that's the beauty of what people should be watching for when we watch these games. Compare the style of play and the flow of how the ball moves and how people play in space without the ball. It's a beautiful thing. It's one of the great things about the international game and why international players come into the league and be like, wow, scoring here is easy. You cut through the lane and there's no help, that doesn't have. So the international side of that's going to be a lot of fun. So I think that adjustment, USA's got to get better at it. But, there are teams that shoot the ball a lot better than South Sudan even. So, you're going to see like Canada does well, Spain shoots well, Germany shoots well. Serbia is going to be a challenge. They're going to have size and shooting. So it's going to be interesting. So it's going to be a lot of fun, but that's what you should be looking for. Pace, flow, playing in space, and more of that, less one-on-one, more rhythm and, ball distribution.
Yeah, and speaking of that pace of play, one of the things we're even looking at Team USA, and then I want to compare it to Canada later as well, they're struggling with turnovers. And like when you see that, is that just trying to adjust to the game speed and how the ball operates? Or what are you seeing? Is that just chemistry where those guys got thrown together and they're playing a little bit different style ball here? But turnovers has kind of been one of the major problems for Team USA thus far.
Yeah, one of my criticisms of the NBA is the way their defense is structured to favor one-on-one play. It makes it a great television product, in the same way that the WWE is great to watch as opposed to Olympic wrestling, right? Nobody wants to see anybody in those outfits anyway, right? But sorry, wrestling folks. But the reality is, though, is that I think turnovers happen because of a lack of familiarity, number one. Like I don't, LeBron likes the ball here versus there, and it's also they're not doing their normal sets. But in the NBA, there are a couple of sets that everybody does that work almost every single time because of the way the defensive rules are. When you do a screen and roll and you do a couple of reverse picks and they can't help and switch off and do things that you can do in international basketball. So lanes that you're not allowed to be in the NBA, you can be in those lanes. You can help way over. You can double team a guy when he doesn't have the ball. You can prevent people from getting the ball in different ways. So there's an adjustment, but still, like I said, make no mistake, USA's the best team in the tournament for the Olympics. But that adjustment's going to make a difference. And you could see in our game, we turned them over a lot in that first half against USA. And I think we were either up or tied or whatever at halftime. So it was a real close game with us too. But it's that lack of familiarity, but also lack of familiarity where your normal sets that you would do that normally work flawlessly, now there's people in the way and you're having to adjust. Athletes are a lot better. People are playing with passion. They're not just letting you make entry passes. It's going to be a different world, and remember the pressure is every game. Like take a 7-game NBA series, NBA finals. You can totally screw the pooch on the first game and you can recover. If you lose in the first round, let's say the USA drops to Serbia here, I think that's what they're playing first.
Yeah, it's the first one.
Okay, well, that means now they're playing the very best team on the other side first when they switch, right? Like losing games in the Olympics has real consequences immediately. There are no it's one and done with every team, right? So you got to get in the first level. That's why, if you lose early and then have a problem in the semis, you're out or certainly not qualifying for medals. So it's a different tournament structure. So there's going to be pressure on every game, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, it's gonna be a dogfight.
Well,
There are no lay down teams. There's nobody where they won by 40. Those days are over.
That's what I was just gonna say. It's crazy looking at all these scores. There's like no blowouts. It's like maybe you can look at Japan and pick a cup, in one of their uglier exhibition games. But
yeah.
If you're Team USA, I'm not, super excited to go up against Jokic in Serbia for my first game. I mean, they were losing to him by a significant margin in the first half through that exhibition. And you saw Jokic, screaming and clapping with excitement in the exhibition when it wasn't fully on the table yet.
I'm telling you, everybody wants to beat the USA. Like Dennis Schroeder, who played for Germany and Canada, by the way, all the Canadians. You don't think they talked a little trash when they beat the USA in the world champ? Oh, hey, you're the world number 4 now. Like USA is only the 4th best team in the world now. They're the 4th finisher in the last world championships. Of course, they're always ranked higher, and they should be. Mm-hmm. But the last real finish, and it wasn't some halfway, doesn't count kind of. It was the world championships, 4th. And so that's trash talking for 4 years. So whoever gets medals here, if the USA doesn't hear well, like I'm telling you, think about the negative fallout. You've got Steph, you've got LeBron, you've got KD, no excuses. You don't get a gold medal, that's a failure for Team USA, which is unfair, but it's true. But I think America has to realize it's not a shoo-in, and like no one's afraid of them. They've all got good athletes, they've all got length, they've all got shooters. Anyone having a really good day, it's over.
Yeah, I think the best comparison, I compare them to the Boston Celtics. It's like you look at the Celtics' depth and talent, and it's like for how much talent you got on this roster, even if you make it to the finals and you lose to, say, the Denver Nuggets, people aren't going to feel bad for you. It's going to be completely on you that you found a way to lose it. And that's kind of where Team USA is right now. And I believe Schroeder, I think he's going to be representing the flag for the ceremony. I think Team USA, they'll have LeBron James. So if you get a side-eye action there, who knows? Give me Team Canada's story. What have you seen so far from those guys as they've gone through their exhibition?
Well, first off, really impressed with the men and women, by the way. Our women are looking great too. I'm really impressed with the one thing we've got, and you saw it in the first half. If you go back and look at it, we turned up the D on them, like the pressure defense. We were turning them over constantly. And then you could tell where when we got through the first half, it was like, all right, we totally pulled off and said, all right, we're here to chill because nobody wants to get hurt.
Right.
We definitely got out there. The amount of pressure that we were able to put on them, I think that they really struggled with that. And I think the other thing too is, the James Harden 4-step to get a jumper will not work in international basketball. And they've been told that. You'll notice you haven't seen any of those, right?
Yep.
Like 1, 2, step back, jump to the left, pirouette right, have a jumper. That's not going to fly. Neither is the total body contact. So I think Joel Embiid is having to adjust to that. But so I think the international play will favor the Euros quite extensively. So with Team Canada, I think we are the best defensive team. We have now we're a little short on size. It would have been nice to have Zach Edey to be a big body to put on Embiid, not to guard Embiid, but just to make his life more difficult to get into that real estate and make him take mid-range jumpers and longer jumpers and get in the way of his other offensive players, right? But I'm telling you, Lou Dort from OKC, who's Shea Gilgeous' teammate, that dude and Dylan Brooks are 2 of the toughest on-ball defenders in the NBA. And Dort in particular, I saw him do things like in terms of guarding the screen and the pick and roll and how he wedges his body in there and guards. We're going to put a lot of pressure and pain on people that are not going to have getting every favorable call that they want when it comes down to these games. These games are going to be more physical. They're going to let stuff go. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how people react when they don't get the foul call and the play continues, Mm-hmm. And so I think it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be, You know, and I think Team Canada is going to cause some real problems because nobody has an answer for Shea Gilgeous. Nobody. Jamal Murray is going to be an assassin, whether he's starting, coming off the bench. Like, he can heat up and light up a fourth quarter anytime he wants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dylan Brooks is consistently going to make someone's life miserable. And there's enough bigs on Basketball Canada with enough fouls to body Embiid. And you know, for what Canada wants to do and what everyone should do, let Joel Embiid be the star and get those mid-range shots all day long, because he doesn't play at a tempo or a pace that I think favors the USA. I think he's in their starting lineup because of size. He's a great player, can't take away from him, but I think he's the weakest player on their team of their starting five. And so if I were coaching other players, I would never let Steph get going. I wouldn't want LeBron to get going or any of the shooters to get going. I'd let them play slow, go through Embiid and live or die with, you know, him, you know, doing what he's doing at 14 to 18 feet from the basket.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up because it's been pretty clear to me that AD just poses a lot more problems for teams out there. Joel Embiid's game's great, but I think we're seeing it. You look at his free throw numbers in the NBA, that's ridiculous. I mean, he gets most of his points from there. And, you know, being a smart player, he's playing with what the refs are giving him. You're kind of seeing that with these exhibition matches where he's looking around, he's not getting foul calls, getting frustrated out there. And I think you're definitely right with Zach Edey, especially with those rules in play. He would have been a great plug-in for Team Canada to really kind of bolster up that front court for you guys. But with Joel Embiid, do you go ahead and make the move if you're Steve Kerr? AD is going to be our starter going forward? Because I think AD and Bam Adebayo, those two together, have seemed to be the best fit, giving other teams a lot of problems.
I cannot tell you what kind of a fan of Bam Adebayo. I love Bam's game. How do you not? But him and AD are great bookends for each other. Like, pick your poison. They're both can shoot it, both long, both defend, both active. And in an international game, because that's the other thing too, like what we saw in the Canada game, what AD did phenomenally well was their help side defense is the best in the world. If you've got, think about it, if you got on ball pressure with LeBron or Steph or whoever, and then they drive, if your weak side help is AD or Bam, like that, first of all, they're going to get there so quick. See, Joel Embiid won't get there as fast, and the lane with AD and Bam, I think, just disappears. So you beat your man, all of a sudden, your defender's right there going up with you. And we saw live and up close when I was literally on the floor for Canada USA, and I saw up close how quickly they both cover ground to help defense. So I think that's the one thing that USA has best in the world, is how good they are at weak side defense and changing shots because of their shot blocking ability, but their speed to cover ground across the lane in spite of the international rules, right? So they're phenomenal. And I agree with you. You know, like I said, Joel Embiid would be, I wouldn't have him in the starting lineup. I would have, if KD's healthy, I'd have Steph, LeBron, KD, Bam, and AD and Bam. That five right there is crazy. You know, crazy.
I agree with you 100%. It's been Bam Adebayo in particular. I'm glad you mentioned and highlighted him. He in particular seems to really thrive in this style of basketball. And I don't know if it's just because he's that great of an all-around player to where within these rules, I mean, and then of course you put AD with him and the way he's shooting the ball. And then you have AD who, if he's feeling good, he can stretch it out as well. And then the shot blocking ability of both those guys. And I think you're totally right. Joel Embiid, great defensive player, but he's just not quite quick enough on closing those lanes. You know, you're seeing a lot of teams, even with South Sudan, you know, they were kind of abusing him on those pick and rolls where Joel Embiid's not going to go out there and contest you at the 3-point line. Here comes South Sudan raining threes down on USA. And then, of course, they make the adjustment. AD plays a lot better. Just racks up a lot more blocks as well. One more guy I want to ask about, and then we'll throw it to our first break here. Tyrese Halliburton. I feel like he's still one of the players that, I know he's young, but I think you give him more minutes, he can really unlock this roster simply for the fact that you have so many scorers. You put Tyrese Halliburton, especially the way he played with the Indiana Pacers, run and go, transition, quick passes, get the ball moving. He feels like a guy that, despite his age, can really unlock a lot of the potential offense that USA has.
Oh, listen, first of all, he's one of the best I love his game. And he's a lot like Shea in that 6'5", 6'6", long. long with reach, and a defender. So, like, no matter what, he's going to be a better defensive player than Steph, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's automatically going to put more pressure at the attack point of any offense that you're going to play against, number one. But his shooting is so good. But I'm telling you, I think, like I said, my rotation would be totally different, and I would be rotating those guys in because for me, the 3-point shooting, and by the way, that's the one thing where I think comparatively Canada has a bit of a weakness is I'd like to have one more killer 3-point shooter out there that was just, absolutely money, because you need that for that flow to work. You got to have somebody where it's just like a knockdown. No, like they're open, they catch the ball, and the whole team goes, "Oh crap," because they know that's money, right? So, but yeah, I think he should be heavily in the rotation. But that's the other thing that's tough. And I'm making a prediction here. You watch in the Olympic series over a tournament of 2 or 3 weeks. First game, everyone's hyped, right? USA will win, I think, no matter what. But Serbia, you never know. That's a dangerous game. You got Nikola Jokic on the floor. That's dangerous, okay? And Nikola will pull people's defenses out and shoot threes, and he'll cause problems. But that first game, it's the second and the third game where you're going to have someone like Steph is off, or you're having your third game where you got to bounce back and get that first win to get to the medal round or whatever that is. Those are the times when those young cats got to be ready. And it's a really hard thing to do because you played 8 minutes in the first game, 12 minutes in the second game. You're not starting. The games were a little bit shorter, right? Because the way they do the clock and everything. So being able to sit there and kind of be on ice for a couple games, and then, okay, now's the day where you got to step up and score 20 in the second half. And like you see, like against South Sudan, how you really had to step up and guys had to make plays in the second half to win. I agree with you. I think he's a great ad, and I think he's underrated in a lot of ways. I think he's one of the best backcourt players in the league.
I absolutely agree with you. And I think next year when the NBA regular season starts again, I always say league pass team, watch the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton works a lot of magic with that team. We'll throw it to our first break here. We got Dave Turcotte for one-on-one with DP. Harrison Arns filling for DP. Don't go anywhere. We'll keep it rolling.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
As a proud member of the Roofing and Solar Reform Alliance, Coalition Restoration stands out by providing thorough property assessments, personalized customer service, and top-notch craftsmanship. With years of experience in the industry, Coalition Restoration has built a notable reputation for having a team filled with skilled professionals and possessing the expertise to handle any roofing project, big or small. Visit their website today for a free roof assessment at www.coalitionrestoration.com or give them a call at 402-607-8186.
With a Planet Fitness Black Card, you don't just get a great workout, you get a great perk out because your membership is packed with perks. For $1 down and $24.99 a month, you'll get perks like access to any of our 2,400 clean and spacious locations. Bring a friend anytime and both work out with tons of equipment that'll give you that big fitness energy. Relax in the Black Card spa and more. Work out and perk out with the PF Black Card. Join for just $1 down and $24.99 a month.
Hurry, this deal ends soon.
See Home Club for details.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you want to come and text us,
if you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music.
This is Mommy's jam.
Then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
The Nebraska legislature will soon meet in special session and may consider a vote to raise consumer prices by imposing a sales tax on advertising. Nebraska's small businesses would be hit hardest, forcing them to raise prices, meaning we'd all pay more for the things we need. Contact your state senator and tell them no ad tax. Visit noadtaxnebraska.com to find your senator's contact information. That's noadtaxnebraska.com. A message from the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
If it was the Big Ten and the SEC and the Big 12 and the ACC's idea to kick back to grow the game at lower levels, we wouldn't have these conversations. Right. But because the NCAA is asking them to do that, it feels like they're getting their wallet stolen, money taken out of it, and it's not their idea, so they're against it.
Yeah. Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You're listening to One-on-One with DP, sponsored by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in to One-on-One with Harrison Arns, not DP today, as he's over in Indianapolis for Big Ten Media Days. If you guys want to join in, 402-464-5685. You can put a face to the voice, use the streams, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Allo Channel 961 as always. Come Wednesdays, as always, we have Dave Turcotte in here. So like I said, feel free to join in on the show as we keep it rolling. Turcotte, we left off talking some Paris Olympic basketball. Still a few things I want to get to before we get off on that note. LeBron James, I got to talk about him. I mean, what he's been doing for Team USA, 40 years old now. I'm not surprised for him to be the leader vocally, but also just on the court. I mean, USA could have a couple losses in these exhibition games if LeBron James doesn't have clutch moments at the end against Germany and then, of course, South Sudan. Any surprises at all that LeBron James, despite the age, has been kind of quite literally the flag bearer? He will be on Friday and has been for the team so far.
You know, not at all. I mean, look, just watching him play for the Lakers, he's still, you know, he and AD are still, you know, they're the Lakers franchise right now. And I mean, and the other thing too is you got to remember, he may be 40, but as tough as this Olympic process is, this is like rest for LeBron right now. Like, he's not playing 5 games a week. The travel's not the same. Like, once they get to Paris, they're going to be in Paris. They're going to be in the hotel. They're not going to be running around. So he'll have an ability to rest. But I'll tell you, like, seeing him live up close do what he did with Team Canada he's the only reason why the Team USA pulled away on the Canada game as well. He's defensively was incredible. Like, he had a couple blocks that were like rundown blocks from behind that were just, the dream of any 18-year-old in the league right now, or 20-year-old in the league, So does it surprise me? No, only because I've seen it with the Lakers and I know he's all there. Is it absolutely an amazing thing to see that's historic that you could play at this level as a 40-year-old? Absolutely. He is in his way. No one's ever played at this level at that age ever. No one, not even close. But the other thing too is Olympic experience is one thing, but I think with LeBron being there, I think he's just got so much respect of the other players in that team. I think they all view him as the greatest player playing in the game today in the world, and I think he is. He and Nikola Jokic are the 2 best players in the world now, right? Mm-hmm. But I just think that because he's got so much respect for the other players on Team USA, when he defends and he's leading by example, I think he's going to be by far the most valuable player on Team USA. Other players will have moments, but nobody's going to have control of the ebb and flow of the game and direct traffic and do things that he can do. It's just an amazing thing to see up close, and I think he's going to do incredible stuff. When those moments happen, that's what's insane. All these other NBA MVP candidates, superstar all-stars are going to defer to him to do something great, which is incredible.
Yeah, I'm not always been the person to give like LeBron James all the credit in the world, mainly because call me old school. I like it when guys stick to one city, one team, and try to win as many rings there as possible. I'm still surprised. And what's really surprised me about LeBron is defensively. I mean, he's turned it up to 10. And that's even with the Lakers, how great he is there. Given 82-game regular season, you're probably not going to see it for 82 games. But the defensive energy, and still looking at one of the best players in shape out there on the court. Like, I know he's great. We all know he's great, but he's 40 and he looks less gassed than 3/4 of the roster at the end of those games, despite playing more minutes than just about everybody else.
Well,
it's just been incredibly impressive.
Well, compare him to Anthony Edwards, who's fitter, right? Anthony Edwards is the future of the league, and he's incredible. Like, he's one of those guys that, man, he's probably going to dunk on. So he's the only guy that you could say he could do an Olympic team dunk that would rival maybe Vince Carter, dunking over some 7-footer guy. Like, he's got that kind of ability. But I'll tell you right now, not in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left and you played the whole game and you've had to defend. Like, LeBron's fitness level is unparalleled. And there's one play that I just have to bring up against Team Canada. And if you ever watch that again, Canada's kind of making a run and we had turned the USA's over. I think RJ Barrett had a wide open layup. LeBron chase down block, jumps head at the rim and just puts 2 hands out on both sides of the rim. Like, whatever side you're going for, and then blocked it with his right hand. I mean, it was incredible to watch. And that was the second half. So, and he wasn't the guy that was the last defender. He outran people to get back and to make that play. I don't think there's been anybody that's as good as him as the rundown block from behind is, he's incredible. So I think that kind of set a tone defensively, but that's where the USA, if they don't defend, if those guys don't step up and defend with the energy that LeBron's applying, these games are all going to be really, really close. And that's the thing about international ball with the 3-point line and how fast it moves, right? A 4, 5, 6 point lead with a minute 20 to go in the game is not safe at all, right? Because all these teams can play. So it's going to be fun. So I hope they can match LeBron, but say what you want. He's the man on Team USA, and it's awesome.
Yeah, who knows what this is going to do for his legacy if he continues this kind of dominance. And again, it's not like he's scoring 30 points, but he's shooting clean, effective basketball. I think the last one was 8 for 11, 2 for 2 on the 3-point line as well. Like, he's just playing. His IQ has been incredibly impressive, and it's full showcase here. I always like to think of what would a team with him and Jokic even look like. You put those two great basketball minds together.
because LeBron is such a great passer and cutter and mover, the international game is better for him than the NBA rules. LeBron's not a break you down one-on-one player. Of course, he's a great player in any format, but in a format where the ball has to move and you have to have basketball IQ, like the European game or the international game, takes more basketball IQ than the NBA game. Okay. And LeBron is probably, if Steph Curry and LeBron probably have the two highest of IQs in basketball of all time, right? And Jokic is up there with them. Those three guys are at a whole other level, right? And that's why I'm thinking you're going to see LeBron do some things that are just like happen so quick, like a ball will come to him and that ball will be it won't even be caught. It'll just be misdirected to another play. And you're just going to sit there and go, what happened? And someone's getting a wide open shot or a wide open layup. And you're just like, huh? And that's because the flow, I'm going to see things with LeBron in particular in the Olympics that you won't get to see in the NBA in the same way because of the style of play favors him. I'd love to see LeBron playing in the European Cup. I wish someone would take up that challenge, from the Euros and saying, you're not the world championships until you beat the European champion, right? That would be a fun game in Europe to watch LeBron play in international basketball. So it's going to be a lot of fun watching him lead this team.
Yeah, that's a great thought to have. I didn't even, fully consider that. When you think of a guy like LeBron James, especially this part of his career, he perfectly fits and plugs and plays over in Europe. I mean, his passing ability, playmaking speaks for itself. And then defensively, he's still got it. You don't have to worry about him on that end of the court.
But just the way when that ball's in flight on the way to him, he already knows where it's going before it even touches his hands, right? So in a game where it's pass, cut, ebb and flow, like you're going to see probably you are seeing, if you think about it, and this is not something that we can, you can really dig into this, but if you really want to nerd out, watch LeBron play for Team USA in international rules, see how you like that. Compare that to watching LeBron play for the Lakers. The both are awesome basketball, but LeBron just seems like he's playing better now than he did with the Lakers.
I think that's fair.
Moving better, everything is it's more about just pure basketball. Just don't have to worry about all this other defensive stupid rules and NBA rules about there. It's just play the game and flow. And LeBron is the best in the world at that.
It's definitely the most full showcase you get to see of all his talents out there. Before we wrap up, though, let's talk about these power rankings. We'll kind of do an exhibition now that we've seen everybody. I think we agree. USA still number one, just based on the count, what they have. Number two, who you slotting in there? Because it's bizarre. And this is the other thing, talking about how everybody's close. You mentioned it. The USA is no longer miles away. It's pretty close. The other scary part is 2 and 3 are also like this, and 3 all the way down to 10. They're all right here. I mean, all these teams feel like they're neck and neck with each other. So who do you got if we're going to do power rankings at number 2?
Well, here's the thing. Let's take someone out that I think people thought would be way higher than they were. So Canada played France in a friendly, and our defense obliterated them. So Wemby's great. Rudy Gobert is great defensively, but their scoring's limited, and their backcourt could not handle our pressure. They have a bona fide backcourt weakness when it comes to dealing with extreme pressure from great defenders. So I'll take France out of the top 5, even though they're the host. Okay.
I agree with you. I don't think they've won a game yet. I think they lost every single one despite hosting it. So that even kind of speaks more to it.
Now they'll be better in the tournament, but I don't put them at top 5. And the thing is, Germany was great in the World Championships, but I put Germany, I would put Germany 5th. I think you're going to be surprised by one of the European teams is going to surprise you. Could be Serbia, but number 2, I will go with Canada as number 2.
I agree with you. I think it's probably Canada.
Yeah, and I think what I'm hoping is I'm not sure how the draw goes, but I know we're in a different pool than USA. But I don't think are we on the same side as USA? Or are we on opposite sides?
I'm pretty sure the polar opposite sides. So I think even if they get past that first phase, they wouldn't have to play each other right away.
There's a very good chance that if both teams play well, we meet each other in the gold medal game, right? So, and then the thing is, it's crazy. You know who always over exceeds? I think Australia.
I was going to ask about Australia. Patty Mills looks like the greatest player. He's just a whole new guy when he's playing for Team Australia.
Yeah, no, it is. I'm saying that's the thing. A lot of these guys that struggle in the NBA because it's so isolated in terms of how they play. So I'll just cut to the chase. I'm going to throw in there and say I think it's USA, Canada. I actually like Spain better than Germany. Spain's good. Okay. And then to me, Germany, Australia, toss up, Serbia. Ugh, you know, anytime you got Jokic in the mix, Greece, I put at 6 because of Antetokounmpo, but he doesn't have enough help, you know. And then I put France. So I would say 1, 2, 3. I think we're pretty clear, like USA, Canada, Spain. Then you put Serbia, France, Australia, all right in the mix right there, you know. And so, and then Germany, I think is the fourth, the fourth. And then those, for that 5th spot, you got those 3 teams milling around. But I'm telling you, I guarantee you there is going to be, like, South Sudan is going to cause a nightmare for people. They're going to be
on top of it. It's insane. You look at, and Luol Deng, he deserves a lot of credit for the work he's put getting that thing together. I mean, he's pumped a lot of money and time and energy into it, and it's paying off.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that was a good basketball team. That wasn't just good 3-point shooting. That was a team that knew how to play basketball at a high level. I mean, the ball movement and the passing are with what you'd see in an NBA game.
For sure. That's why I'm so psyched, because there's going to be players playing, and we're all over here going to be going like, who the heck is that guy? Like, you're going to see guys make plays athletically, skill-wise, you know. Like I said, I remember, gosh, early 80s, I mean, seeing guys do things that I wasn't even seeing in the NBA yet when I was playing against Drazen Petrovic, for example. You know, like, and I forget who the other teams are, but there's always, if it's Lithuania or somebody, like, there's all these great Eastern European teams that always have a couple sleepers in them. But I think that's right. I'd have to go in that order, 1, 2, 3. And then right there on the bubble of like 5, 6, you've got 4 teams. One of those could shock the world easily. And that's what's so fun about it, right? It's like March Madness on steroids, because you're going to have the 16. You're already down to the Sweet 16 right now, basically, in a different kind of tournament format. And easily there are 4 teams that could legitimately be gold medal winners. 4
I agree. That's why this is going to be, I think this might be probably going to be my favorite basketball for the Olympics to watch at a FIBA and just Olympic. I mean, this is going to be, like you said, these group phases, not only are they shorter lived, but all these teams we just talked about feel like they got somewhat of a fair shot of finding a way to pull through. So, like I said, as we're going to start group phase, let's going to start up this weekend. Definitely tune in, because this is one where it feels like everybody's kind of neck and neck. Even if you go all the way down in our power rankings, hypothetical power rankings, you get down to 7, you still don't see a whole lot of separation. But that being said, we'll go ahead and throw it to our last break here. We'll talk a little bit college football to wrap things up, since it is Big Ten Media Days. Don't go anywhere. We got Dave Turcotte one-on-one with Harrison Arns as DP's out. We'll keep it rolling here.
Football season is nearly here, and your long wait for year 2 of Matt Rule is almost over. Gear up for the season with 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of Big Ten Media Days from July 23rd to the 25th, live from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Jay Foreman, Amon Green, Adam Carricker, Chancellor Brewington, Derek Pearson, Steve Sipple, Jake Sorensen, and Nick Sainer will be in Indy for our shows Tuesday through Thursday. Getting the latest news from Nebraska and everyone else around the conference. Coverage of Big Ten Media Days is brought to you by 1890 Nebraska, Stevens and Smith Construction, The Complex, Warhorse Casino, and Riddles Jewelry.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de The Alzheimer's Association y The Ad Council.
The Nebraska legislature will soon meet in special session and may consider a vote to raise consumer prices by imposing a sales tax on advertising. Nebraska's small businesses would be hit hardest, forcing them to raise prices, meaning we'd all pay more for the things we need. Contact your state senator and tell them no ad tax. Visit noadtaxnebraska.com to find your senator's contact information. That's noadtaxnebraska.com. A message from the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Whether you like fishing together or fishing to get away, for the thrill of reeling in a big one,
or just going out to have a good time. On the banks of your local pond, at a bend in a river, or on one of our many lakes and reservoirs, you'll always find the perfect place to cast a line. Here, beneath Nebraska skies. Start planning your next fishing adventure today at letsfishnebraska.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Your child was embarrassed when you arrived at their basketball game. 75% of parents or guardians report current alcohol use. Drinking alcohol can cause harm to children and loved ones. By drinking less, your child will be excited to see you at their basketball game. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Are you a veteran looking for a new companion animal? A dog, a cat, or maybe something else? The Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs Vets Get Pets program can cover up to $350 of your pet adoption fees. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov/vetsgetpets to learn more about program requirements and how to apply. Want to help support the program? Get your Vets Get Pets specialty license plates from the Nebraska DMV. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You're listening to One-on-One with DP, sponsored by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, wrapping things up here. One-on-one with Harrison Arns as DP's out for Big Ten Media Days. We're just going to go ahead and wrap up this final segment as well, as we got only a couple minutes here. But we got Dave Turcotte on Wednesday as always. So if you guys want to join in any last-second comments, feel free to do so. But through Big Ten Media Days, I don't know if you had a chance to catch UCLA's Deshaun Foster's opening introductory press conference. What do you make? What happened there? Is that just stage fright? I've never seen just a meltdown when you're expected to speak. I almost got to assume he just completely blanked and had to recover somehow.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it happens to all human beings. So first of all, he's coaching at UCLA, so it's not exactly like he's on a small stage anyway, right? One of the biggest cities in America with more media attention than, LA by itself is bigger than 80% of the football market in terms of the size of the community. But the Big Ten, that's a big, big thing. And I know for the hire for him, that was a big moment. And a lot of times you get up there, and I think I saw commentary to the fact of, it's kind of like giving a talk in church and you just get up there and wing it and you do whatever you do. I think you get in that moment and all of a sudden that reality of, wait a minute, this is a lot more than a moment that you can just wing it, because you got to, because it's a whole other, like, Utah was with, we were in the Pac-12, I think it was for a while too. And I just think that the football at this level is just, it's more like upfront, in your face. It's bigger media. It's the biggest story for a lot of these states. And I think he got up there and realized maybe the gravity of the moment just hit him all at once. Sometimes that can kind of knock you back on your heels a little bit. But the odd thing is the difficulty in recovering from that. Even so, if you're a head coach in any college football, basketball, any major sport, you're talking in front of people and giving speeches 5 days a week. And you're in front of the media 5 days a week. So I haven't seen him do anything like that before or heard him kind of just totally being gone like that before. So I have to think this is a one-off aberration. And so I think he got up there. Like I said, he got the wind knocked out of him and put back on his heels. And I think he just froze and couldn't recover. And the moment was a little bit bigger than he was, you know?
Yeah, it made unfortunately made for a popcorn moment where a lot of people are just wondering what, kind of what the hell is that. But I do think that's kind of a blip in the radar. Even prior, he doesn't seem like he really struggles with public speaking. That was a pretty big stage. I'll say that much. It looks like they upgraded on the podium as well. So maybe it was a little bit of stage.
I'll tell you one thing. It'll be a blip on the radar if he wins his first game. Because the haters that came after him, oh, what a terrible hire. This guy's incompetent. Like, obviously, they're going after him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if he wins, it'll be gone in the rearview mirror. Okay. So I have a challenge for you, and I know you're running out of time in this segment. There's one thing I wanted to ask you for the next time we talk. It kind of goes in the Olympic thing. I want you, as you watch the Olympics, find the player that comes out of nowhere for you. Who's the player on what random team that you get introduced to because of the Olympics? It's like, that guy, who is that guy? So who is the player that you see from what country that makes you ask that question? Who is that guy and where did he come from? Like, that comes out of nowhere from which country, playing for who? Small club team in Macedonia, and he dropped 30 on who? Like, there's going to be a moment like that where you have this player that you have never heard of that does stuff that blows your mind. That's always a fun thing. So that hidden gem that's going to come out in the Olympics and be that star, that'll be a fun thing to look for that we should compare notes on when next time we chat. It'll be fun discovering that kid.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely do that. I got a guy from Serbia. As soon as I figured out how to pronounce his name, I've got my mind already. Because again, talk about that. You looked at Jokic and you're like, who's this other guy who looks just as good? So that'll be a lot of fun. Be sure to tune in next week. We'll have Dave Turcotte on again on Wednesday. We'll have some Paris basketball to talk about. So Turcotte, appreciate the time as always. We'll do it again next week, and Ticket Weeknights, we'll keep it rolling.
All right, thanks, Harrison. Bye now.